A cold gleam flickered in Yin Chengquan's eyes, though his voice remained steady. I understand the urgency of your actions. However, you have violated a sacred law of our tribe. Still, if you can eliminate these pests, I will overlook the transgression. Thank you, Regional Monarch. Your generosity is unmatched, Yin Gua responded, his voice full of gratitude. Your talent for lying without a hint of guilt is truly impressive, Yin Chengquan. I've seen 3 individuals who arrived without your permission. One was a man named Yin Duo, a great encompassment stage gray immortal, whom you drained dry and threw into the lightning pond, Liu Qi said, a laugh escaping his lips. Yin Gua's face tightened at the mention of this. Elder Yin Duo's mysterious disappearance had always raised suspicions. The tribe had assumed he had perished during an outing, killed by enemies from the reincarnation region, but Yin Chengquan had never shown any real distress over the loss, suggesting a darker truth. Don't try to sow discord, you crafty old fox. I am the master of the infernal region, and I will not lower myself to such deception. Yin Chengquan barked, his tone cold. Rest assured, regional monarch, I will eliminate these vermin at once, Yin Gua swore, his fist raised in salute. Yin Chengquan nodded before turning his attention back to Liu Qi, charging toward him with lethal intent. You got away once, but not this time, Yin Gua hissed, directing his wrath at Shi Chuankong and Fox 3, Shi Chuankong, his eyes flickering with resolve, glanced at Han Li, still submerged in the silver lightning pond, before facing the impending battle. Trouble is upon us, fellow Taoist Shi, Fox 3 said with a rueful grin. Do not lose hope. If you have any hidden cards, now is the time to play them. The enemy may be a great encompassment cultivator, but his aura is unstable from summoning so many infernal soul bugs. If we can hold out until fellow Taoist Li emerges, we may yet prevail. Shi Chuankong urged. Yin Gua snorted in disdain. A golden immortal and a jade immortal dare oppose me? Foolishness. With a swift motion, he drew a black seal from his waist. Tossing it into the air, a bolt of black light surged from his hand, expanding into a millstone-sized seal that hurtled straight toward Shi Chuankong. The latter reacted swiftly, forming a hand seal as he retreated. But the black seal accelerated unnaturally, striking Shi Chuankong before he could retreat fully, sending him crashing into the wall. Brother Shi! Fox 3 cried in alarm, but before he could act, a crimson sphere erupted around him, causing his body to explode. Pathetic! Yin Gua scoffed, with a sneer. His gaze fell to Han Li, still caught in the swirling silver lightning, but a flicker of uncertainty crossed his face at the sight of the violent storm. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed in surprise as the black seal trembled. Cracking sounds filled the air, and spatial rifts began to form around it, warping the space itself. Behind the seal, Shi Chuankong, hands locked in a strange seal, held up a white jade pendant, which emitted powerful spatial fluctuations, creating a barrier between him and the seal. I forgot you had spatial powers, Yin Gua muttered, his voice cold. He thrust his palm forward, releasing a violent explosion of energy that shattered the barrier and obliterated the pendant. The black seal crashed into Shi Chuankong, sending him reeling as blood spurted from his mouth, and the wall behind him shattered into pieces. But then something extraordinary occurred. Shi Chuankong's form began to swell, his skin turning dark and covered in black scales, silver patterns emerging along his chest and limbs. His hair grew long, and his handsome features contorted into a monstrous visage. In an instant, he had transformed into a massive demonic entity, towering over 1,000 feet. 4 additional arms sprouted from his body, each brimming with intricate silver markings. With all 6 arms raised, Shi Chuankong unleashed waves of silver light that collided with the now gargantuan black seal, halting its advance. A tremendous boom echoed through the hall as the seal was sent flying back to Yin Gua, who nonchalantly swept a sleeve through the air, pulling the seal back into his grasp. Is this all you have? Yin Gua taunted, his voice dripping with contempt. Then prepare to die. He opened his fingers, and a ball of radiant black light appeared in his palm, but just as he prepared to strike, a blur flashed before his eyes, and his flesh was torn apart as crimson flowers erupted from within him. These grotesque flowers, with voluptuous petals and drops of blood that gleamed like morning dew, feasted upon his flesh, draining his life force. Such beautiful flowers in the Grey Realm. Yin Gua muttered casually, though unease gnawed at him. How had he fallen into this illusion? Before he could ponder further, his roar shook the entire hall, releasing an explosive burst of energy that eradicated the illusion in an instant. Now, Brother Shi, Fox 3's voice rang out, urging Shi Chuankong. At that moment, the sound of a lute filled the air, and Shi Chuankong appeared before Yin Gua, strumming the strings of a silver lute with blood-stained fingers. With urgency, the patterns on the lute glowed brighter, and a streak of silver light formed across the strings. Yin Gua, struck by instinctive fear, realized that this attack was no mere illusion. In midair, Shi Chuankong, drained of nearly all his immortal spiritual power, released the strings. With all his remaining strength, the silver light shot forth at close range, striking the black seal that appeared in front of Yin Gua at the last moment. With a crack, the seal shattered, and the light continued its deadly path, splitting the seal in two. The first half of the seal plummeted to the ground, while the second half vanished into thin air. With a furious cry, Yin Gua attempted to evade the strike, but the silver light tore through him, taking his left arm and shoulder with it. The wound pulsed with residual spatial law energy, preventing it from healing. Yin Gua took a steadying breath, his gaze locking onto Shi Chuankong, who lay trembling on the ground, his hands soaked in blood, still clutching the silver lute. That is a fine spatial immortal treasure, but alas, you're only a golden immortal. If you were a great encompassment cultivator, I would have no chance against you. Yin Gua mused with a chuckle. With that, he spread his palm, summoning dark balls of baleful lightning that exploded outward, cascading down upon the weakened Shi Chuankong. Stripped of his strength, Shi Chuankong lacked the power to conjure a protective barrier. Just as all hope seemed lost, Fox 3 leaped forward, his 9 mighty white tails swishing through the air to intercept the incoming black lightning. The collision sparked thunderous explosions, but Fox 3's body quivered under the force, his powers hindered by the surging energy. Before he could recover, more bolts of black lightning rained down. Yin Gua appeared in a blur, slamming his foot into Fox 3's shoulder with a force that shook the heavens. "You seek death, then let me grant it," he sneered, his hand curling into a claw, gathering more baleful lightning to strike down. Fox 3's body trembled in the face of certain death, but in that desperate moment, a booming thunder split the air. A streak of silver lightning shot forth from the lightning pond, warping the very space around it. Yin Gua's eyes widened in shock as he summoned 5 beads of baleful lightning to intercept the silver streak. They exploded in rapid succession, but the silver lightning tore through them, grazing Yin Gua's side, leaving a gash that pulsed with crackling energy. A violent explosion sent him crashing into a nearby wall, leaving him reeling from the shock. Slowly, he climbed out of the rubble, his face a mask of cold fury. The silver lightning that lingered in his wound gnawed at him, refusing to die. He turned his gaze to the lightning pond, where Han Li emerged, scorched and battered, his robes shredded. Despite the damage, his eyes glowed with a fierce light, and the baleful qi that had once plagued him was all but gone. Fox 3, still dazed from his injuries, retreated with Shi Chuankong, quickly feeding them both healing pills. His eyes flickered nervously toward Han Li, sensing something unusual in his aura. "How do you feel, Brother Li?" he asked through voice transmission. Han Li's voice was steady, but there was a hint of something more. "The baleful qi is gone, and my body feels renewed." His strength surged, feeling as if he had transcended his former self. Though he did not reveal the full truth, he could feel a profound connection to the lightning pond, a link that could soon propel him to the high zenith stage. As the battle between Yin Chengquan and the others continued in the distance, Han Li's thoughts briefly turned to their struggle, but it was Yin Gua before him who demanded his attention now. Yin Gua's eyes narrowed. "You've mastered the laws of time, yet you wield the lightning of the baleful cleansing pond?" he demanded. Han Li's response was silence, but he prepared himself, his hands clutching a pair of immortal origin stones to draw in the spiritual power he needed. The azure bamboo cloud swarm swords hovered protectively around him, their glowing blades crackling with golden lightning, while the profound heavenly gourd swung at his waist. Yin Gua's expression darkened as he surveyed the scene, his frustration mounting. His left shoulder wound still festered, its spatial laws resisting healing, and the lingering baleful qi gnawed at his side. He swept his remaining arm through the air, releasing a cloud of black mist that crackled with baleful lightning. From it, hundreds of spears formed, streaking toward Hanli's group. Without hesitation, Hanli stepped forward, his body covered in golden scales, Xuanwu armor materializing over him. The 9 azure bamboo cloud swarm swords surged to intercept the spears, but with each explosion, the swords dimmed, their power weakening. Despite the toll, Hanli pressed on, each step bringing him closer to Yin Gua. Blood seeped from the corners of his mouth as his armor cracked under the relentless assault, but he did not falter. Reaching the critical distance, Hanli activated his reversal true axis, slipping between the black spears to appear before Yin Gua in an instant. But just as he prepared to unleash his mantra treasured axis, Yin Gua's cold sneer curled. A thunderous crack split the air, and thick arcs of black lightning erupted around Hanli, binding him in place, rendering him motionless. In a flash, Yin Gua formed a baleful lightning spear in his hand, plunging it toward Hanli's glabella, his eyes gleaming with malice as Fox 3 and Shi Chuankong watched in horror. As Yin Gua's baleful lightning spear bore down upon Hanli, the space around them suddenly rippled, and chains of translucent light shot forth, piercing into Yin Gua's mind without resistance. His body froze instantly, his expression locked in place. Meanwhile, Hanli's arms were cloaked in golden scales as he surged forward, his fists clenched tight. Despite the arcs of black lightning attempting to wrap around him, they faltered, their numbing energy hindering his every move. Fox 3 hesitated, but then appeared behind Yin Gua, summoning his silver longsword to strike. As the sword tip neared its mark, Hanli's warning cry rang out, "Get back!" Fox 3 leapt away just in time as a black bead on Yin Gua's forehead erupted in a burst of black light, severing the spiritual chains. A terrifying aura exploded from Yin Gua, and 8 lightning spears shot from his back, resembling spider legs, ready to impale anything in their path. Hanli did not flinch. With a motion of his profound heavenly gourd, silver lightning surged out, creating a net that clashed with Yin Gua's black lightning, dissipating its power and freeing Hanli. Now, retreat was not an option. He charged at Yin Gua, who retaliated by conjuring a massive ball of black lightning teeming with miniature lightning dragons. Despite the threat, Hanli pressed on, summoning the heavenly fox bloodform saber, his immortal spiritual power flooding the blade. A colossal saber projection formed and struck the ball of lightning. The resulting explosion rocked the hall, drawing attention from all around. The lightning dragons struggled but were contained by the saber, though arcs of baleful lightning still lashed at Hanli, leaving him trembling, blood leaking from his mouth. With unwavering resolve, he forced the saber down, slowly overpowering Yin Gua's defenses. Yet Yin Gua's eyes darkened as an insect-like projection flickered within them, and a strange rune activated in the infernal soul bug within Hanli's mind, stirring it from its dormant state. Yin Gua's hand shot forward, releasing 5 streaks of black light, but Hanli's spiritual sense was now too strong. His chains bound the infernal soul bug once more, and the black light faltered. "Impossible!" Yin Gua exclaimed, seeing Hanli's power. With renewed strength, Hanli's saber cleaved through the black lightning ball, splitting Yin Gua in 2. However, Yin Gua's body remained suspended, a cruel smile spreading across his face as he announced, "This is as far as you go." His body exploded violently, black lightning spreading outward, and the ball of lightning detonated, sending lightning dragons crashing into Hanli. The Xuanwu armor failed to protect him, shattering under the force of the impact. Hanli was left battered, drifting through the air, unable to grasp his saber. Fox 3's heart sank as he watched from a distance, while Weeping Soul rushed toward Hanli, only to be stopped by Yin Chengquan's spiritual avatar. In the blink of an eye, a dense black barrier formed around Hanli, his body stretched out and suspended, helpless. Yin Gua's form loomed large, and he spoke with a calculating smile. "Once I refine you with my baleful lightning, I shall regain my strength." He grew to an enormous size, his mouth opening wide as he attempted to devour Hanli. Weeping Soul screamed in desperation, but in her moment of distraction, she was sent flying by a blow from Yin Chengquan. As the black barrier faded, Hanli was nowhere to be seen. Shi Chuankong's eyes darkened with despair as Yin Gua gathered the surrounding baleful lightning into his hand, ready to continue his grim task. Yin Gua glanced at the spot where his arm had been severed. then turned to Shi Chuankong with a grin that dripped with malice, chuckling darkly. Apologies for keeping you waiting. His voice carried the weight of impending doom as he slowly moved towards Shi Chuankong, whose brows were tightly furrowed in anticipation. Yin Gua's hands released the immortal origin stones, his fingers weaving a strange hand seal, a burning pain creeping across his back as an ancient rune began to form. This seal, an ultimate weapon, came with a heavy price, but it was his final trump card. Just as Shi Chuankong steeled himself for a final strike, Yin Gua's expression shifted from confidence to alarm. A thunderous roar erupted from his lower abdomen, followed by a blinding silver light. The air crackled as arcs of silver lightning surged from the wound, tearing open his flesh, and a torrent of searing silver flames poured forth. A sharp cry split the air as a gigantic silver fire raven soared out of his body, circling once before diving toward his chest. On the raven's back, a weary Han Li, drenched in blood, emerged. The battlefield fell into stunned silence, while Weeping Soul, battered and bloodied, pushed herself free from the rocks, her gaze fixed on Han Li with urgent concern. Yin Chengquan's face darkened, while Lu Qi's eyes flickered with a mixture of shock and hope. The silver fire raven collided with Yin Gua, igniting him in a fierce blaze. The flames spread swiftly, devouring his body as he screamed in terror. Despite his efforts, the flames refused to be extinguished, their power fueled by the Essence Fire Raven's might. Shi Chuankong and Fox 3 watched in astonishment, while Liu Qi observed Han Li with growing curiosity. Despite Yinggua's desperate thrashing, the flames held firm. Then a streak of black light shot from the inferno, and a miniature black figure blinked into non-existence, vanishing amid the storm of lightning before anyone could act. Yin Gua collapsed, his body charred beyond recognition, a corpse claimed by the flames. Han Li descended from the raven's back, his hand reaching for the scattered azure bamboo cloudswarm swords. They hesitated, as if reluctant to return to him, only complying after a moment's focus. He also retrieved the heavenly fox blood-form saber before approaching Yin Gua's remains. Examining the body, Han Li found a bone badge hanging from Yin Gua's waist and took it, storing it carefully. The Essence Fire Raven, now a small silver figure, landed sleepily on his shoulder. Weeping Soul, flying over, asked with concern, "Master, are you unharmed?" "I'm fine." "What of you?" Han Li replied, his eyes scanning her injuries. "I'm well enough, he held back against me," she answered with a sullen expression. Fox 3, appearing concerned, approached. "Forgive me, Brother Li, but Patriarch Liu Qi still requires aid." Han Li glanced towards the battlefield, where Yin Chengquan had gained the upper hand without Weeping Soul's support. "We'll assist, but first, we need to recover. Let's focus on replenishing our spiritual power and severing the third chain. Once that's done, Senior Liu Qi will be strengthened enough to turn the tide on his own," Han Li said with confidence. Fox 3 raised an eyebrow. "The third chain is said to be the most powerful yet. Are you sure, Brother Li?" "I'm 70% confident in severing it, but we must first recover fully." Han Li assured. The group settled into a meditative posture to restore their energy. Meanwhile, at the conference venue, the air grew thick with tension. Huang Fuyu, brow furrowed, urged, "Regional Monarch Yin, it's time for the vote." But Yin Chengquan, lost in thought, barely responded. Xiao Buai echoed Huang Fuyu's words, prompting Yin Chengquan to reluctantly snap back to the present. With a stiff smile, he explained, "It's not time for the vote yet. We must wait a bit longer." As Yin Chengquan's fingers fiddled with a gray ring on his left pinky, a faint silver mark began to glow, unnoticed by all but Huang Fuyu. His suspicions grew. As Yin Chengquan prepared to rise, his expression shifted to one of shock, his face betraying a momentary lapse in composure. Huang Fuyu, keenly observant, noted the change, and in a voice transmission asked his spy, "What news from Asura City?" The reply was terse. "The soul-cleansing area is in crisis, with nearby regions locked down. Yinlin of Bitter Lake is headed there, but the situation worsens by the hour." Realizing the gravity of the situation, Huang Fuyu smiled faintly. "It seems the infernal tribe is facing more trouble than expected. Should we proceed with the vote, now that things have changed?" Xiao Bai asked, a hint of calculation in his voice. Yin Chengquan hesitated before proposing, "Let's adjourn for now and reconvene at a later date. The decision on the future of the Grey Realm is not one to rush." Xiao Buai, however, disagreed. We've already traveled great distances. To postpone would be unreasonable. We must reach a decision now before things fall apart. Yin Chengquan smiled stiffly. Perhaps, but the decision is too important to rush. The next meeting should take place in your Black Rope region, regional monarch Shao. Still, we must press on. The Grey Realm can no longer afford further delay. Huang Fuyu interjected, his eyes narrowing slightly. The shift in Yin Chengquan's demeanor had not gone unnoticed. With tension mounting, the fate of the Grey Realm hung in the balance, and the storm of politics and power continued to swirl. In the Grand Assembly Hall, tension hung in the air as Yin Chengquan, regional monarch of the Infernal region, voiced his concerns. I fear our Infernal region cannot bear the Reincarnation region's ambitions. While we can resist invasions from the Immortal Realm, establishing a passage to it would invite disaster, especially if spiritual qi flows from their realm, he warned. Huang Fuyu of the Reincarnation region remained unmoved. Do not worry, regional monarch Yin. We have devised a plan for the interrealm passage, and once we reach consensus, we shall reveal it, he assured. Then why not reveal it now to ease our doubts? Yin Chengquan sneered. Once we understand your plan, we shall better align with your stance. Huang Fuyu's expression remained cold. This plan is a closely guarded secret within our region, known to few. I shall not disclose it until we agree on the matter at hand. A simmering silence followed before Xiao Bai, a wise figure, intervened. Enough. We are at an impasse. Our priority must be the division within the Grey Realm, not the Immortal Realm. Let us set that aside for now. Yin Chengquan, ever the pragmatist, agreed. Indeed, it is better to unite the regions first. What say you, Palace Master Huang? Huang Fuyu responded, troubled. This is but a temporary measure, a mere covering of cracks rather than a solution. Xiao Bai, smiling, countered. An alliance would prevent further conflicts, as no region would dare strike another with the others in solidarity. Yin Chengquan interjected. Yet even in alliance, a leader must be chosen. I doubt fellow Taoist Huang would accept my leadership, nor would I allow the Incarnation region to take charge. Hence, I propose that regional monarch Shao lead the alliance for now, with leadership subject to future discussion. Wang Fuyu's heart sank, for this was the victory Xiao Bai sought, though at least stability would be secured for now. The Reincarnation region has no objections, he conceded. Xiao Bai smiled, graciously accepting the role. It is an honor, though I shall step down once the next conference concludes. The assembly resolved, Yin Chengquan suggested, let us set the date for the next meeting. Soon, the conference ended, and the tribes of the Reincarnation and Black Rope regions departed Asura City. Miao Xiu, seated in a modest carriage with her father, questioned softly, Do you think those three were behind the turmoil in Asura City? Miao Gao hushed her with emotion, his voice low. We know nothing of them, nor have we ever met them. Understand? Elsewhere, Worm 3, aboard a grand carriage, gazed at the soul-cleansing area, her brow furrowed. Uncle Huang, something about this conference feels off. Why did the infernal tribe change their stance so suddenly? Huang Fuyu, ever the calm strategist, smiled. No matter the cause, the outcome is favorable to us. At the baleful cleansing ponds, the spiritual sense avatar of Yin Chengquan lay shattered, its form split asunder. The white fox projection, triumphant, hovered over it before returning to Luqi's glabella, leaving behind only the dissipating remnants of the avatar. Weeping Soul, pale and weak, struggled to stand. Luqi, standing firm, summoned the translucent light of his powers to heal her, stabilizing her aura. Han Li, appearing in a flash of azure light, rushed to her side, his face etched with concern. I'm fine, Master, she whispered, though her condition was dire. Han Li, still troubled, administered black pills to hasten her recovery, though his expression darkened when they had little effect. Liu Qi, observing the dire situation, acted swiftly. A burst of translucent light from his glabella enveloped Weeping Soul, restoring her color and stabilizing her aura. Han Li nodded in approval, acknowledging Liu Qi's vast power, yet Liu Qi's voice was urgent. Yin Chengquan's wrath will soon follow. Now is the time to enter the final golden lightning pond and sever the lightning entrapment chain. Han Li, with resolve, turned to face the ominous golden lightning pond, its strands of golden lightning pulsing with fierce power. The lightning's form shifted and swirled with the force of its law, shaking the very space around it. Though the challenge was formidable, Han Li knew the importance of breaking through to free Liu Qi. With a steady breath, he leaped into the golden pond, his determination unwavering.